Hi, my name is Souls Gaming. Welcome back to the fifth part of my Everything You Need to Know Paragon guide. This time we will take a look at the stats. This guide will be an unedited version of me just explaining the different stats. I will put up the equation so it makes sense. Yeah, but I might mess up once in a while. So to start with, I'll say I have a gift for the statistics nerds at the end. I actually asked the developers and I got the equation for both damage and defense. But I don't quite understand them myself, so I will just explain everything to the best of my ability, and then I will let you decide and take a look at it at the end. So to start off with, we have physical damage and energy damage, which I'll call PD and ED. So PD and ED are basically the all the damage you have, like it scales on. As you can see, it starts on 0. So every ability starts on a basic amount of damage. If you look at an ability, it says 30 damage or 60 damage, whatever. And then they will scale on either PD or energy damage depending on what they set as. So if it says status bomb deals 60 energy damage, then we'll scale on energy damage, and physical damage won't do anything to that ability, and the other way around. So first, it's important to know that you always pick the right type of damage for your character. I have done the mistake of playing Steel with energy damage because he used to be energy damage, and that is a complete waste of time and waste of points. So always be sure to read before you go into a game. Um, The abilities will scale at different rates, and we don't know those rates yet. So you just have to accept that physical damage, the more physical and energy damage they have, the more damage an ability will deal. We don't yet have like if it's 50% of energy damage, or if it's 100%, or if it's 200%, or whatever. We don't know yet. Simply. That will come later. That's just part of being an alpha. Then we have crit chance, which is pretty straightforward. A crit is you can see the crit bonus. That's how much damage a crit will deal. A critical attack will activate if the crit chance, or it's basically a dice roll where it rolls between 1 and 100, and the more physical or the more crit chance you have, the higher chance you have for getting that roll. So different items have different amount of crit chance. It doesn't say percentage, but it is just percentage. So 10 crit chance is 10% crit chance, 12 crit is 20% crit chance. There's no limit on crit chance right now, so you can get 100% and do critical strike every attack. As you can see, a critical strike as standard will deal double damage, so a 50 damage attack will deal 200 damage. You cannot crit on abilities as far as I'm aware. I'm a bit unsure on that, so be sure to check it yourself. Because right now I don't think I ever managed to do it other than a bug. Um, some upgrades has a unique, or some equipment has a unique passive that is upgrades crit bonus. So you will see an item that has like a fully upgraded bonus plus 50 crit damage. And if you have that, your crits will deal 250% damage instead of 100% damage or 200% damage. Then you have attack speed, and attack speed is quite straightforward. It's percentage. So you can see you start with 100% attack speed, which means percentage 1. So there can be two equations depending on how it's set up. If you have, uh, right now they're kind of changing it, but if it says, for example, you shoot once per second, then you will just have to multiply with 100th of the attack speed. So imagine it's normal percentage. So 20 attack speed is plus 20% attack speed, 40 attack speed is plus 40% attack speed, and so on. I'll put up the two equations on the screen so they will make sense. Physical penetration and energy penetration are how much armor or physical armor or energy armor that attack like a damage ignores. This applies both on abilities and standard attack. So it's very, very effective on characters like Kalari. We'll go down to physical armor and energy armor later, but basically a lot of physical armor will take you very, very little damage, and physical penetration and energy penetration is the way you counter that. Um, so then we have the max health, which is sort of very obvious, very straightforward. Health regen. I am not sure. I can't quite remember how much that is. I think it's 10% of the value that your health regen, or maybe even only 1% actually. So you start with healing, regenerating 1 health per second. And the same with mana regeneration. You start by regening 0.4 mana per second without a potion. Yeah, that's probably it. So that means if you buy 20 health regen, you will gain 0.2 health regen, like health per second. Then you have lifesteal, which is again a percentage. So lifesteal gives you a percentage health depending on how much you damage. So 50 lifesteal means you get half of your damage as health. Lifesteal only applies in standard attacks, not abilities. So it is recommended to only get it on characters who use the basic attack a lot. Then we have the physical armor and energy armor. Again, I will place the equations later at the end of the guide. But what you basically need to know is it's inversely scaling, which means that the more armor you get, the less each point of armor is useful. So for example, 300 armor might block 90% damage, while 500 might block 91 or 92% damage, while maybe like 6 armor might block 25% damage, and like 30 armor might block 50% damage. So that means that the higher physical armor you have, the less it scales. So you sort of have to find the sweet spot of when is it worth to buy armor and when is it not like scaling enough anymore for it to be worth it. And the exact same with energy armor. Max mana, again, pretty straightforward how much mana you have. Mana regen, as I said, again, it's just 0.4 standard. That will level up over time, and it of course differs if you're a mage hero. Right now I'm looking at Twin Blast, so yeah. And then last we have cooldown reduction. Cooldown reduction is a percentage of time that is removed from how long your abilities are on cooldown. For those who don't know, cooldown is when I use an ability and takes me 10 seconds before I can use it again. We say that that ability has 10 seconds cooldown. Right now, the cooldown reduction cap is at 40, which means you cannot get more than 40% cooldown reduction. But if you have 40% cooldown reduction, then the ability that used to take 10 seconds now only takes 6 seconds. And 20 seconds now takes like 12 seconds, and so on and so forth. It's very, very effective on mages, and especially Muriel support. Um, yeah, I think that was basically everything that I need to explain about the stats. I know it's rather simplistic. And as promised, here are the functions you need to look at. Yeah, I hope this helped somehow. Because a lot of people was asking about it, so I am planning on making a video called Advanced Systems or Advanced Guide, but I haven't quite figured out how I want to write it yet. So yeah, if it was helpful, like and share it, and I'll see you next time.